Hi, and welcome. I'm Grandmaster Tom Bloom. Today, we're gonna be working on our 5 basic blocks of Tang Soo Do karate. We're working on our low block, our high block, our knife hand, our inside, and our outside block. If you're new to karate, fantastic, you came to the right place. If you've been training for a long time or a while, and you're revisiting your basics, thank you for joining us. We're gonna build the foundation from the floor up. It's like building a pyramid. There's a lot of value in the basic blocks that is very unclear, and you want to know why you're blocking. So I'm going to cover a lot of those concepts for you today in this video. Not all of them, but we're going to get a basic idea of the basics, why we're blocking. Blocking, pretty simple, right? Someone throws a strike from high, I block high, from the side, from this side. It's a little more complicated than that. This is an instructional video, so we're not going to spend a lot of time warming up or working out, but you are going to feel a lot of burn in your legs from holding your stances. First of all, the blocks. Imagine a batter's box. So a batter's box is kind of a long rectangle, and it's in front of you. Your blocks are a lot like a batter's box. You don't want to let any pitches come inside your danger areas. So if you imagine a rectangle around your body, you imagine the low blocks, the high blocks, the knife hands, the insides, it's hard to do, the outsides, right? It's all starting to make sense now. So if you're looking at your protection area, you have your low, your high, your knife, your inside, and your outside. You're protecting your area in your stance with balance and timing. So in order to learn a proper block, it starts with that basic center punch. You know, that basic move. That move that has a reverse motion. It has a completion point. It has a balance point. So when you make your block, you're not only balanced, but you're also in position to follow up with another move. Your blocks are a lot like that. Every block is a completion. Every motion is a setup for another move. It's kind of like a slingshot, a never-ending slingshot. When you do your low, you're prepped for your punch. When you do your low block, you're folding, it's up to your ear. This hand is out solar plexus level. We're completing. In gymnastics, they call this hollow. It's a hollow position. When you work from hollow to expand, you develop great power. When you develop that power and you do it right, if you do it correctly, you're gonna have to be in a really good stance, because if you're not, you're gonna knock yourself over. So when you do a low block from a back stance, you're in your back stance, you fold, block, and you block here. Not only did this block in its correct position, but this hand is ready, this shoulder is ready, this leg is ready, this completion is a setup for another move. Every block, from every angle, from every side of your body, from every position, has a completion and a setup for another move. You're working within your batter's box, protecting your vulnerable areas, in balance, with timing, prepping yourself to counter, or prepping yourself to explode, or prepping yourself maybe for another block, or a kick, or a punch, or a strike, or whatever it might be, a shoot. Okay, so here we are in our back stance. When you're doing your blocks, it's not all about the blocks. It's not just about your hand doing the block. Your legs, what your legs are doing, your stance, the foundation of your stance, gives the block the integrity it needs to set you up in that balance point. If you don't have a stance, if your stance is high and you're just wiggling around, you're gonna lose the integrity. Even if your thumb is sticking out just slightly. I'm in my stance, I'm doing a low block, and my thumb's out, all my energy is floated out there. I want to complete my block and center my energy and my power so everything's set to explode in the direction I'd like it to. So that's a lot. So let's go into the basic block. I hope I didn't scare you. Let's go into the basic blocks. Okay, you have your low block. You're going to start from a back stance. Make sure it's a good back stance and you hold your back stance. Every time you fold for a low block, the hand that's out is going to be pointed right in front of your solar plexus. In a back stance, your shoulders are at 45, so you're reaching across your body. So you're in your back stance, you're reaching across. This hand is solar plexus level. These front two knuckles are facing your solar plexus level. The other hand is folding opposite. It's folding palm to your ear, and your elbows are, this elbow is touching this elbow bend. I didn't know what that was called, but I looked it up in the dictionary. That's called an elbow bend. Okay, so we're in our stance, we're folding for our low block. This hand is to the ear, and you're pulling. And you're pulling. And the last moment, your wrist snap in position. The body also snaps into position, where this hip, this leg, is coiled to spring forward. From this move to another, to another, to another. So, low block, you're gonna fold with your hands straight out, solar plexus level. This is not solar plexus level. When we work on our basics, we work up and down the center line. You wanna know the center line. So when you fold for a low block, you're folding center line, solar plexus level. Not chest level, not chin level, solar plexus level, not belly button either. From here, the other hand's up to your ear, palm facing your ear. Not sideways, not kind of to your ear, touching your ear. This part of the thumb right here should brush your ear. So every time you do a low block or a knife hand, or even inside, you're always consistent with where your hands are and where you have to know your position in space. So we're in our back stance. Now, we're practicing our low block. Fold for the block, pull it down. Fold for the block, pull it down. I'll turn sideways so you can follow better. But we're in our back stance. You're folding for your low block, pulling down. Folding for the low block, pulling down. Folding for the low block, pulling down. And completing it. I gotta get the phone. That's my mom. Hold on. Okay, everything's fine. She's 93. Can you imagine 93? Still doing karate? Okay, so let's go back to those blocks. We're on our low block. We're folding from a back stance. Weights back where that leg can lift up comfortably. We can pivot to a stance, pull to a stance, any strike. Your back stance is a foundation for any move. If you take all your stances, you take your straddle leg stance, your front stance, your cat stance, and you combine them all together, chumbe stance, you have a fighting stance. So every time you're practicing your basic stances, you're improving your fighting. So right now you want to develop a perfect back stance. When your instructor grades you for your basic blocks, your instructor's not just going to be looking at your hands. Your instructor's really looking at your stances, your eye line, your focus, power, speed, timing, and all that thing. So we're in a good back stance here. We're going to fold for our low block and pull. Fold, pull. Fold, pull. Fold. Okay, we're not gonna do a whole bunch of low blocks right now, but you're probably gonna do hundreds of thousands before you reach your black belt. Now we're gonna tackle that high block. The high block's kind of interesting because a high block, you think of it about just getting your hand above your head, but I often think of my blocks as strikes, like that low block. That low block could be a hammer down low, it could be a bottom fist to the head, a strike behind us. It's the foundation for a lot of things, not just blocking. The high block, same thing. Imagine you're a football player and you're down. Ready, down, set, hike. And there's a guy, wham, up with the forearm. You might get disqualified, but in a fight, that would be a really good move. A high block's very much the same. A high block isn't swinging up above your head. A high block is coming in tight to your body. You're getting your timing so that you can strike upward with the ridge of your forearm. Same goes for your low block, ridge of the forearm where you're ready to grab. High block, ridge of your forearm where you're ready to grab. Knife hand, ridge where you're ready to grab. Inside block, ridge where you're ready to grab. Outside block where you're ready to grab. All your blocks are with the outer ridge of the forearm, except for the outside block, it's the inner ridge, which is a totally different move, totally different setup. So let's go back to the high block. I keep on getting carried away. I hope you're learning. So we're in a good back stance here. You're gonna take this front hand, the hand of the leg that's in front of you, you're gonna bring it across your body. You're gonna make a fist like you're making a muscle. You're gonna bring that here. Your forearm's gonna be perpendicular to the ground. Your other hand's gonna go right on top of it. Okay, from here, this is pointed down, this is pointed sideways. Good fist. We're bringing our body. You're not just swinging your block. You're gonna find this a lot. Okay, I'm going into concepts, but follow along. You're gonna find that a lot of your moves in martial arts, especially the upper body, are gonna get that hollow position and that expand position. Your low block, your high block, your knife hand, your inside, your outside, no exception. You're gonna find it everywhere. You're gonna learn it in your basic blocks. So here we are in a back stance. We're folding for a high block. You're gonna pull the back hand back to your hip, palm up, and the front hand's gonna be coming in and up. And this is a slight angle. So if you look at it, I've got kind of like a house. It's not square, where I don't have integrity or strength in my arm. It's not straight, where I'm missing, I'm not blocking my head. I'm making a house, but it's angled. So whatever hits it can slide off. I'm using the ridge of my arm. I'm not blocking with my hand. A low block does not block with your hand. It can when you turn into a check, but a low block, you're blocking with your forearm. Same thing with the high block. You're blocking right here on that ridge of your forearm. Okay, not up here where we strike, but down in here where we can grab better. So let's do a couple high blocks. I'll go at an angle. No, I'm gonna go sideways so you can copy along. So find your back stance, weight in the back leg, fold for your high block. You're gonna bring that in and a little bit forward up. Oh, one more thing about the high block. When you're in this position, I don't know if you can see it, but this is flat. Like if my forearm and my wrist, my fist, were against the wall to the side of me, it would be laying flat on the wall. My angle of my block is not like this or like this. It's flat, okay? So you wanna get that as flat as you can. We're in a good back stance. We're folding for that block. Weights in the back leg, kind of centered. You're not leaning. Good, you got your C posture. You're folding. Bring it in and block. Good, fold, in and timing. Fold, in and timing. You wanna get those wrists tight, working together. Fold and block. Fold, block, fold. Good, that's your high block. We're gonna move on to the knife hand. Okay, again, all these things, they're like building blocks. If you don't have good fists, your blocks aren't gonna be any good. If you don't have good stances, your blocks aren't gonna work. If you don't understand reverse motion that you learn with your basic punches, you're gonna falter somewhere. If you don't have good head posture, body posture that you learn in your chin-based stance, things fall apart. So make sure that you're learning all the way from the ground up. The knife hand block, no different. The knife hand block, you want to develop a really strong outer part of your hand because sometimes you strike with the knife hand block. Like you strike with the forearm, you strike with a low block, same thing. Knife hands, it's kind of like no different. You strike sometimes with the blade of your hand, whatever your move might be. So when we do our block, we're not thinking about the blade of our hand, but we're thinking about the timing of our hand, and we're thinking about our outer forearm. So from here, we're in our knife hand block. If you can imagine folding for a low block and opening your hand, it's the same exact fold. So this is solar plexus. That thumb that we did with the low block, it's exactly the same for the knife hand block. Okay, to make a knife hand, take your hands, put your fingers together, chuck your thumbs, squeeze. When you squeeze, you want to support this outer ridge of your hand. Your hand should be bent slightly inward like this. This is a karate hand. That's a knife hand, okay? If I was like this, that would be really goofy. I'll break my fingers a lot, and I'm not getting that integrity in my forearm. A lot of people, you got to understand, when your hand is open, you have more integrity, more strength in this position. The knife hand gives you the same thing, but it's more of a rigid position. Okay, so when you're in your back stance, you're folding for a knife hand. It's not just slicing across. There's a little angle to it. It's a little bit around, and the elbow sets, okay? When you set it, fingertips are eyebrow level. Make sure your block goes across your face. It doesn't stop in front of your face. And then your hand, the timing, same as the low block, pulls back to your hip. Those wrists are working. When you do a high block, it's wrist. When you do a low block, it's wrist. When you do knife hand, wrist, inside, wrist, outside, wrist. You want to work the timing, both hands working in sync, opposite directions. So you have your knife hand block. Boy, you're learning a lot today. From here, I'm in a good back stance. I'm gonna fold for my knife hand. Again, thumb to the ear. I'm pulling. Again, I'm using my shoulders. So when you pull, you're getting that hollow work. It's not just this, okay? That's right, but you're not getting, you wanna develop that animal in your move. You're gonna do things no one's gonna understand really unless they know. You're gonna look different. You're gonna be stronger, okay? So here's your knife hand block. You're in a good back stance, you're folding, you're pulling and timing. When you block, that elbow is right over your knee. So just like that low block's over your knee, when you do a knife hand block, that elbow is stacked right over your knee. Okay, so you're in this position. I don't go all the way flat. I go a little slight angle. Either way is fine, but this is stronger. So here's our knife hand block right here. Okay, eyebrow level. Again, we're gonna do 5 of these. Fold for your knife hand and block. Fold for your knife hand. 2, fold for your knife hand. 3, fold for your knife hand. 4, fold for your knife hand. 5. And always be ready to punch, always be ready to follow up. Your stances and your moves when you're training, they're not dead. They're not just sitting there. Your weight's just not sitting down. You have that pressure pointed out, you're ready to move. Even when you're doing basic punches, basic blocks, even in basic form, you're thinking about getting the weight and the balls to your feet, even though your heels are down, where you can still explode with your moves. Okay, we're moving on. We're gonna go for, boy, that's a lot. We're gonna go for the inside block. And let me talk about the blocks a little bit more. All of this foundation, all of this motion might come down to this, like just this, just touch, just this. So all of this might just be this or this. An outside block might just be this. Right? Are you getting the idea? A high block, you're not gonna, when someone's throwing a strike at you, you're not gonna jump into your back stance, fold for a high block, and then make a block. Your hands are gonna come from whatever, and you're gonna come up. The only difference is, instead of just moving forward or just making that move with your block, because you practiced all the proper basics, when you're making this move here, it's getting this shoulder and your hip and your body in position to follow up and to explode and to move. And without the proper foundation, you won't have that. So let's go back to the inside block. All right, again, remember, your folds themselves, your fold can be a strike. So if I fold for an inside block, I'm folding. That might be a strike or another block, whatever. But the fold itself is like a strike. Don't go light on your folds, go sharp on your folds. So if I'm folding for an inside block, I know we're just learning, but when I fold from here, there's my fold. It's kind of like a punch. Again, solar plexus level. So I hope you recognize that. That's from the low position, the knife hand position, and that's in the inside position. It's the same kind of fold, but the body is doing different things. The body is prepped for different motions. So now we're folding for the inside block. Hand is out. Your fists, these two knuckles, these two, the punchy knuckles, are gonna brush your ear. Sometimes you might be a little off. If your shoulder's really tight, you might have a hard time with this, but that should be up brushing your ear. You're gonna block in, you're blocking in across your face, and you're using your forearm to come across. Again, make sure it's going all the way through. You're blocking with the inside of your forearm, shoulder set, we're ready to counter or move, do another strike. But the inside block, you're folding and you're blocking. Folding and you're blocking. Okay, we'll do a couple more. I'll do it on this side so you see the other side of the body. But you're in a back stance, you're folding, block. This hand's ready. Folding, block. This hand's also ready. Folding, block. Your knees ready, your legs ready, your head. You want to complete your block in a position that you're ready to attack with another move. Okay, so that's the inside block. We're going to move on to the outside block. So like I mentioned, the outside, that big motion is just might be a little motion. But if you ever had to protect your head, you got a big kick coming and you had to get that hand up there to your head to protect yourself, you're going to want to have some foundation. Not just foundation to protect yourself, but foundation that you can work off of. That's where your foundation comes in. So here we are, we're in a good back stance. If I folded for a high block, I folded palm up on the bottom, other hand palm down, wrist to wrist. I blocked up and in. Okay, from here, when you do an outside block, you're gonna fold palm down. Now, you could just go out and around, but what you're gonna do is you're gonna work that hollow expand. So from here, you have your outside, you're folded nice and square, it looks basic. As you make your move, your elbows kind of come closer together and you're pulling. This goes around and down. That's eyebrow level, it's across your face. If it was a strike, it would be coming down this way. The elbow sets. Just like your knife, your elbow sets. The outside, the elbow sets. So we're in a back stance position. We're folding for the outside block. We fold palm down. We block. Okay, no one's gonna see this, but it's there. So a lot of moves like that. The more you understand, the more depth you have in your basics, the better you're gonna be. Someone not even knowing martial arts is gonna look at you, they're gonna know that's different, that's really strong. Even if they don't know what they're looking at. Okay, we're gonna go on with the outside block really quick. So we have our back stance. Again, we're practicing from back stances or blocks. You're gonna fold for your outside block, that's palm down, palm on top. Instead of square, we're a little bit more back towards the hip. As you start, you're gonna get a little more of a cross, up and around. Folding, cross, up and around. When you fold, go ahead and fold. Block, fold, block, fold, block. And there you have your 5 basic blocks. You have your low, you have your high, knife hand, inside and outside. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you got a lot out of this video. I hope you're having fun. I am. I'm exploring my basics. I'm being able to practice, and please join us again.